Hey all, this Sunday our practice was the practice of compassionate gentleness. I hope you were here. I hope you got to hear Dr. Vargas and her testimony. What an incredible Sunday. Thank you all for those who are sponsoring a kid now, and a life is going to be radically changed. So thank you so much for stepping up and doing that. Now, because this sermon was 15 or so minutes this week, there's a lot that we couldn't get into. So I just wanted to offer you a couple practical application points regarding this idea of compassionate gentleness. Now, the practice of compassionate gentleness is stewarding power with sacrificial love. It's stewarding power with sacrificial love. So a few ways that we can do that. First is consider the cross and practice confession. Just consider the cross and practice confession. In other words, recognize your need for His grace, recognize your need for His mercy, and then practice confession, because so often we're not gentle because we think we don't need help, because we think we have everything right, or at least most things right, and these other people don't, and why are they so dumb or slow to get it? And so we're harsh or judgmental. So consider the cross and practice confession. Acknowledge your need for His grace. Next, be quick to listen and slow to speak. Right? This is common wisdom, but it is so powerful. Be quick to listen and slow to speak. So often we aren't really listening to the person in front of us. We're preparing what we're going to say, and we're looking for the right opportunity to jump in there, and it just breaks down dialogue, and we're not seeing the person in front of us. So if we are quick to listen and slow to speak, it helps us practice compassionate gentleness. So be quick to listen, slow to speak. Don't assume that you don't have blind spots. This is part of the listening. Make sure that you're really understanding that person. The next one I would say is let go of controlling outcomes. Outcomes are God's jurisdiction, and so often we are trying to manipulate things to get the outcome that we want, and in trying to manipulate to get the outcome that we want, we end up again not seeing, not listening, and so we run roughshod over people, and we're not stewarding our power well. So let go of controlling outcomes. Trust the Lord with outcomes. You just be faithful in loving Him and loving the person He has put in your path. And lastly, I would add this one: practice not having the last word. I believe it was from Dallas Willard years ago. I heard this through a friend via Dallas Willard, or vice versa, Dallas Willard through a friend. And it's this: practice not having the last word. So often we want to, again, control the situation and have the last word, kind of go punch for punch. We don't always have to have the last word. Even if it's in something really calm and casual, maybe just practice letting somebody else have that last word. So when you get into something that's a more difficult kind of conversation, and you want to coerce or control or win, then you're already primed to practice not having the last word. So I know that one sounds simple, but it's really, really difficult. So I would encourage you this week to practice not having the last word. And again, I hope all these will help you as we learn to grow in this practice of stewarding power with sacrificial love. We love you guys. Have an amazing week. We'll see you soon. God bless.
As we heard today from Pastor Heath, compassionate gentleness has a lot to do with how we steward power. In fact, the very first biblical redemptive act is found in Exodus, where we see political, economic, social, and spiritual dimensions all being answered by God's great act of redemption, from freeing slaves to coming in and freeing them from the political powers and the grips of Pharaoh. God moved everything out of the way to rescue Israel from whatever they were in bondage to in Exodus 1 and 2. And our partnership with Compassion International and Hope International allows us to join what God is already doing and join the holistic development of every child and family that finds themselves at the local church partner that we're partnering with in Guatemala, La Hermosa. This Compassion Center, while Hope International is going to provide discipleship opportunities, training, and a safe place to save and take out loans, Redemption is holistic transformation. And this is what we want to see in Guatemala. Redemption is holistic transformation. It's political, it's economic, it's social, and lastly, but most importantly, it's spiritual. So here's what we're doing is we are seeking to join Jesus on his mission of holistic renewal in Guatemala and Latin America. And as we heard today, and as we had the opportunity to respond today through Compassion International sponsorship, we get to play a part. We get to take action. It's not us just writing a check or standing idly by. We get to enter into life together with an image bearer of God. Now these packets, it can be easy just to see them and think, okay, those are kids. Eventually they'll get sponsored. But these are image bearers. Boys and girls with futures and dreams, and God has a destiny for each and every one of them. And so Compassion International's sponsorship is the key component of how we believe God wants to use us holistically to transform young people in Guatemala. So what is this? So a holistic child development center is what we are praying and asking God to provide for in Guatemala. This means it's going to assist a child in poverty in some cases when a child is still even in the womb, and it means we go all the way through young adulthood with this child. This requires a long-term approach. It's not just a quick sponsorship and then your money's taken out every month. It's life together. It's a long-term approach that goes beyond the simple involvement in the life of a child. It involves a long-term dedication and perseverance, and it changes as a child's needs change. We heard it today from Dr. Vargas. The first time she heard the words, "I love you," was from her sponsor. Her sponsor was the very one to encourage her to go and pursue her dream of becoming a neurosurgeon, and that's exactly what she is doing today. And so this approach that we're taking with Compassion International and Hope International takes the Exodus model of holistic change, and it is inviting each and every one of us to play a part as Jesus uses the church he is building to bring each child in their reach to a place of renewal, to live a life of victory over oppression and political, economic, and social and spiritual hurdles that they may face. That is incredible. And that is something to answer and to get involved with. And so we want to encourage you as you pray and consider, if you have sponsored a kid, I'm so excited. I could just burst through the camera right now. But I want to encourage you to take letter writing seriously. You have the opportunity to not only come alongside a child, but to speak gospel life into a child's life. And they could hear the gospel. They could hear the words, "I love you." They could hear the words, "You can dream," for the very first time. So take that seriously. Download the app, Compassion International app, on your smartphone. It makes letter writing a whole lot easier if you're able to do that. I would encourage you to do that. If you're still praying about it, pray about it. And then come back next Sunday if you have kids. What I did with my kids is I have a son and a daughter. Each of them picked one child. So of course my daughter picked a young girl and my son picked a boy. And we're gonna do letter writing together with them, and they're gonna be in relationship with each of the children that they picked. So pray, consider sponsoring a child if you haven't already. You can still give to the Compassion and Hope campaign to build our Child Development Center and to get Hope International into the local churches all over Latin America. So, would you pray with me about sponsorship, about our giving campaign, and that God would bless this holistic ministry opportunity that He's given us as Valley Community Church.